Most High in Christ. So we up now. Perfect. Most High in Christ. This will be the time that the priests come up. They will state their registry. La Yashal. Al-Madi, which means to stand. Wapanyah Aquadum, and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Avanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakufka, Dabaha, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Natalanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yanawa, Walaa, Dawiyaa Nawa, Banasayawan, Abo, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Ilaka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Watahara, La Awalanyam, Aman. In the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahawashah, Baba Kusha, Nathana Nawa, Hakak, Lavabaa, Chamakala, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, Latahor, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, Lahapuyim, Hamathim, Hakak, Arakara, it's like it, Arakara, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, by Hashem Yahawashah, the water of man. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahawashah, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leprous, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahawashah, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahayim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Aizoya, Ma'ay, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Warataza, Ayathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Aljanawam, Shamoraka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wula'a, the Yashan, Shawamor Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamoraka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Rayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamoraka, Makal Rai, Yashamor, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamor, Tazahaka, Wabuwaaka, Maeta, Wai, Awalam, Aman. In the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills, from which cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth Israel, behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, al damayalaka, al takorash, wa al tashakwat, al kayahana, awayatyaka, yahama yawan, wadana shanayaka, nasha'awa, ra'ash, al aimaka, ya'arayamwa, sawad, wayataga aitazawa, al tazaparanyaka, amorwa, lakawa, wanahakidam, magoya, wana'a, yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Aiwad, Kaya, Nawa'ai Tazawa, La, Yahadwa, Aljaka, Bayak, Yakarafwa, Ahalya, Adawa, Wayashama'alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagoyam, Gabor, Wa'aimawan, Wa'amalak, Palashat, Amyashabya, Tazawar, Gama Ashawar, Nawawa, Aimam, Hayawa, Zabarai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha Laham, Kamadyan, Kasaya Sawa'a, Kayabyan, Balathal, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayanda Ara, Hayawa, Daman, La Adama, Shayatawwa, Narayatmawa, Ka'aiba, Wakaza'aba, Wakazabak, Wakatazal Manai, Kau, Nasayakawa, Ashur, Amorwa, Nayarasha, Lanawa, Na'awa, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayatawa, Kagawdala, Kakwash, Lapanya Rafa, Ka'ash, Daba Ira Ya'ira, Wakalahaba, Dagahat, Hoyim, Khan, Dagadama, Basa Iraka, Wabasawapaka, Select Basa Iraka, Wabasawapaka, Daba Halam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwalawad, Wagabakwashwa, Shamkaya Hawa, Yabashwa, Waya Bahalwa, Aigai, Waya Kapawa, Waya Abadwa, Waya Da'awa, Kaya, Ata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al-Yawan, Al-Hataza, Aman. In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy little ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabor, and Ammon, and Amalek, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have broken the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them, as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabez, as the book of Kasai, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make them nobles like a red, and like Zaed, yea, all their princes, as Zabah, and as a ruler, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. All our power, make them like a wheel, as the stone before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shade, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded, and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame, and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be it. We're going to do the blessings in the Hebrew. Brakatha Yahweh, wa Yahweh Shai, wa Madaka'ala, wa Alahayim, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawat Yahana, Ha Alawatyim, Ha Saranyim, Ha Kudazayanyim, Ha Koyayodyim, wa Ha'awatyim, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, the water of none. In the English, bless you Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanded General Yahweh, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. We're going to do bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Barak Lenoah, Wa Yasha'ala, Wahaba Yasapoya, Barak, Raha, Magan, Hagan, Ba'ashim Yahushai, the one what we just said in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Sar, which means to turn. Yeshavia, which means to be seated. Alright. Shalom Israel with the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group or any other Christian organization. Alright. This is the memorial of blowing trumpets. Alright. The memorial of the blowing trumpets. Very, very important class to attend. Very, very important to attend. So we're going to get down to the history of the memorial of the blowing trumpets. Alright. We're going to break it down and everything. So we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 23. We're going to start there. Alright. So this is very important when it comes to our high holy days and our feast days. You understand? We need to learn this history. And we need to learn, this is a part of our culture. This is a part of our heritage. Something very important for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we need as a people. Like this is something that we need. Like this is what makes us us. Like this is what's going to separate us from these other nations of people. Like we're not celebrating Christmas. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving. We're not celebrating Labor Day. We're not celebrating New Year's. We're not celebrating Halloween. We're not celebrating Easter. We're not celebrating Valentine's Day. We're not celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We're not celebrating these other holidays that are practiced by our oppressor in these other nations and heathens, man. Like we're not doing that. We have our own days that we're supposed to observe and keep and celebrate that the Lord gave to us. Like this is part of our traditions. Like this is a part of our culture. This is part of our heritage. And that's very something important to understand. Like this is what it truly means to be separate. We have our own so-called holidays, as they call it, but we call them holy. We call them holy days. We call them high holy days. We call them feast days. Alright, that's what we call them. We call them feast days, high holy days, or memorials. Like that's what we call them. Like we need to separate ourselves completely from these other nations of people. Like those holidays that they celebrate, like that's where they get it from, right? The holiday, because it comes from a holy day. Like that's where they get it from. That's why they do Christmas and New Year's and Halloween and Thanksgiving and all of that. Because they created that to be themselves within that society. Like they have their own so-called feast days that they celebrate and honor and keep according to their society. Well, the Lord, the Most High Power, if you are the children of Israel, and if you are so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American, which would make you the children of Israel, well, the Lord gave us our own days to observe and keep, and our own days to observe and celebrate. And one of them is the memorial of the blowing trumpets. All right, so let's get it. We're going to get Leviticus chapter 23. All right, we're going to get Leviticus chapter 23. Let's get to it, and we're going to get into Hebrew. So Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. Where the bar Yahweh al Mashallah Amar. Verse 2. The bar al Banya Yasha'ala wa Amara Alaham. Aslaga al-Ham. Ma'ayya Yahweh Ashar. The Qura'awa Atham. Mawakaraya. Kodash Alaham. Ma'ayya. Verse 3. Shashat Yam Yam. The Aisha Mala'ak. So like a Mala'aka. What the Yaram. It's like it. Bayawam. What Bayawam. Hashabai. It's like a Hashabayai. Shabbath. Shabbath one. Shabbath one. Shabbath one. Makura'ah. Kodash. Kal. Mala'aka. La'ah. The Aisha wa. Shabbath, Hara'ah, La Yahweh Bakal, Mara Shabbath Yakam. Verse 4. verse 4. Allah Mawa'aya, Yahweh, Makora'aya, Kodash, Ashar, Bakora'awa, Atham, Bawa'aima. Verse 5. Bachadash, Hara'ashwan, Ba'arabai, Aishar, Lachadash, Bayan, Ha'irabium, Pasak, La Yahweh. Verse 6. Wabachamash, Wabachamashah, Aishab, Yawam, Lachadash, Hazah, Chag, Hamatazawa, La Yahweh, Shabaith, Yum, Matazawa, Akalwa. Verse 7. Bayawam, Hara'ashwan, Mawakara'a, Kodash, Yahweh, Lakam, Kal, Mala'akaf, I Bada La'a, Da'aishawa. Alright, that's the verse 7 verses in the Hebrew. Let's get it in the English. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel. So now remember, Moses is the main man in charge right now. Like Moses is who the Lord put in charge over the entire nation of Israel. Verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them. So now they're talking of now remember, this is for the Israelites. Like this right here, like the entire Bible is about the Israelites. Leviticus chapter 23. This is for the Israelites. Alright, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Most High. Like this is the chapter where you learn about the feast that we are to keep according to the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. So these are the feasts of the Lord that we are to observe and to keep. Like we are to proclaim them to be holy. Alright, holy convocations, meaning to come together. Right? Right? These are days, right? These are days that we come together. Verse 4, verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High in your dwellings. So now the Sabbath. So now remember that now the Lord's Sabbath is also considered. All right. Now remember the Sabbath, the Sabbath day is considered a high holy day to the Most High. Like that's why we have the Sabbath service. All right, every week. This is a high holy day according to the Most High. All right, a holy convocation. All right. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Now within their seasons, because our holy days and our feast days, they come in different seasons and different times. You understand? Like that's something that we have to understand. Like we understood the different seasons and months and days and years. Like we already understood that, especially at this time, by the time of Moses. We understood all of that. All right. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month, at even is the Most High's Passover. So this is when you would keep the Most High's Passover. In the 14th day of the first month, at even in the Most High's Passover. Like the first month is never January to us. All right, that was never the first month of the year when it comes to Israelites, when it comes to Israel. Like January is the first month compared to all these heathens, and that's when they celebrate New Year's and all this nonsense. There's nothing new happening at all in the middle of winter. Nothing new is happening. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Most High's Passover. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month. So literally the next day following after the 14th. Right? The 14th day. This is the 15th day of the same month. Right? The same month that the Passover is in. It's the feast of unleavened bread unto the Most High. That's why we eat unleavened bread. Alright? Because it's part of the Lord's Passover. And then we rolled right into unleavened bread the very next day, the following day. because that's what the Lord said to do. It's in our law. It's in our culture. It's literally in the instructions that the Most High gave to Moses to give to the children of Israel in Leviticus chapter 23. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. So for that entire time, we are to eat unleavened bread. I don't know about you, but I know how to make some decent unleavened bread, and I love it. And also to add on top of that too. And I'm sure, of course, I'm sure y'all know how to make some good unleavened bread too. But now, I would like to add on, eating unleavened bread was a part of our culture too as well. Like, it wasn't necessarily done always and only on the Feast of Unleavened Bread or on the Passover. We've made unleavened bread plenty of times throughout our generations, throughout the year. It was a part of our culture to make unleavened bread. Like even during the time when Abraham and Lot, when Lot invited the angels into his home, Lot gave them unleavened bread. You understand? Like, we've always ate unleavened bread throughout our times, months, weeks, whatever the case may be. It wasn't always necessarily on these feast days, but it's in order that we have to eat unleavened bread, all right, on the Feast of Unleavened Bread and Passover. Verse 7, in the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Like, this was the purpose of having these convocations, was to come together, eat some food, drink, have a good time. We've been slaving all year, slaving all week, and things like that. We need times to relax. We need times to, kick up our shoes and just enjoy some family quality time. Like, that was the point of these feast days, was to come together as a nation and enjoy family quality time. The nation of Israel as a whole is a family. And when it definitely comes to these high holy days, man, like, it's very, very important. Like, the spirit behind all these days is for all of Israel to come together. And when I mean all of Israel coming together under one body. You understand? Like, and I'm going to get more into detail, because the memorial of the blowing trumpets is very yet that. All right, that's literally what the memorial of the blowing trumpets is about. All right, it's literally coming together and being under the one body and being protected and things like that. Like, that's the purpose of the memorial of the blowing trumpets. All right, and we'll get that breakdown too. All right, let's get the next 7 verses. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 8 in the Hebrew. Wa'akorabtam Asha la Yahweh Shabai Yum Wayawam Hayashabaya Slake Hashabayai Makora'a Kodash Ka Malaka Slake Malaka Ibada La'a Da Aishawa. Verse 9, where the boy Yahweh al Mashala Amor. Verse 10, the boy Al-Ban Banya Yasha'ala wa Amorah. It's like wa Amorah wa Amorah Al-Ham Kaya Daba'awa Al-Ha'arataza Ashora Anya Nathan Lakam Wakatazar from it's like Wakatazar from Kwatazar Wa Ba'ath so like it Wahaba'ath ma Aimor Ra'ashiam. It's like a Ra'ashiath. Kwatazayar come Al Hakahan. Verse 11, Wahanayak Ha'aimor Lapanya Yahweh Laratazanakam Laratazanakam. Let's see. Mama Korah Hashabah Yanayan Nayak Noah. Yeah, Yanak. Salakia. Yanayak Noah Hakahan. Verse 12, Wa Aishaya Bayawam Hana Salakia Hanayakam Ha'aimar Kabash Thamayam Ban Shanakwa La Yahweh. Verse 13, Wamanak Slaki woman Chachwa, Shanya, Aishar, Slaki Aishar Nayam, Slaki Aisharanim, Salah, Shalah, Balayala, Bashaman, Slaki Khan, Bashaman, Asha, Layawa, Rayak, Nayachak, Wanasaka, Yayan, Rabayai, Slaki Rabayai, Hahayan, verse 14, Walaham Wakwalwa, Wakarak, Slaki, Wakaramal, La'a, Da'akalwa, Aitism, Hayavam, Hazar, Ha'abayakam, Korab, Koraban, Alayim, Chakwaf, Iwalam, Ladarak Yakam, Bakal, Mashabak Yakam. Alright? Let's get into English. Starting at verse 8. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. And the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So alright. So it said, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire. So that offering by fire is that food that you make. And the 7th day in an holy convocation ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 9, and the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. So this is their order. When we come into the land, this is what we're going to do. Like these laws, statutes, commandments are to be kept wherever we do. And this is what we do. We keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We keep these feast days. This is talking about the Feast of First Fruits. The Lord is explaining this is what you do. You give the first fruits of everything to the priest. Verse 11. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Most High to be accepted for you. On the morrow, after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Alright, so the priest the morrow will wave that sheaf. Verse 12. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf, and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Most High. Verse 13, and the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour, mingled with oil. So this is what you do in the meat offering. There's a meat offering. Like this is a meat offering to the Lord. Thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour. Like these are ingredients. The Lord is literally explaining us the ingredients, what he wants when it comes to this meat offering. Fine flour mingled with oil. When you put oil and flour together, that creates a chemical reaction of something fried. Alright? That is a common chemical reaction. When you take oil, right? Because remember, this is a meat offering. Alright? And the Lord is explaining a meat offering. Most meat offerings are there's fire underneath that meat offering. So if you have flour and you have oil and there's heat, that chemical reaction causes something, whatever you put in there, to be fried. Alright, this is fried foods being explained in Leviticus chapter 23 as a meat offering unto the Most High. An offering made by fire. There we go, the Lord is made by fire. This meat offering is going to be made by fire. The Lord always dealt with us, telling us to cook our food. Alright, now this is specifically a meat offering mingled with flour and oil. Or flour mingled with oil. And when it's underneath fire, that creates a reaction of something being fried. Alright? An offering made by fire unto the Most High for a sweet Savior. Alright? It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be sweet. It's supposed to be good. Like, listen. Like, the Lord is dealing with fried foods, man. Like, this is how you know this is a Black, Hispanic, and Native American book, man. We love to fry food. It is Latino culture to fry food. It is Native American culture to fry foods. It is black culture, so-called black culture, to fry foods. Why? Because we are the children of Israel. We get this from the Bible. We have always fried our foods. We fry our chicken, we fry our bread, we fry our tortillas, we fry everything that we make. We dang near fry everything. If it can be fried, it can be fried. We fried chicken, fried steak. Like we fry anything. You understand? Listen, we fry Oreos now. You understand? Get you a pack of Oreos in a black Latino Native American household. We mingle the flour and oil and we throw it in the pan and we eat fried Oreos. Like it is black, Hispanic, and Native American culture to fry our foods, and we get it from the Bible. It's a sweet savor to the Lord. Alright? And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of an hin. Verse 14. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, unto the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto the Most High. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. So it says, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto the Most High. So it's referring to you don't eat nothing unless you bring that offering. Alright, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. Now this is referring to the Feast of First Fruits. Alright, that's referring to the Feast of First Fruits. Let's get the next verses in the Hebrew. Alright, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. Wa'asaporachtem lakam mamacharat mashabat mayoram habaya'akam aimor hadanawapa shabai shabathwa mayamath. It's like it. Tamayamtha Dahayayan. It's like it. Yayana. Hayayana. Dahayayana. It's like it. Verse 16. I, Maharat, Hashabat, Hashabayai, Tasapara, Hashamayim, Yawam, Wahakoratam, Manakha, Khadash, it's like it. Khadasha, La Yahweh. Verse 17. Mama wa Shabbat Yakum. Tabayahawa, Laham, it's like it. Laham. Tanawapa, Shatayim, it's like it. Shatayim, like it. Shatyam, Shanya, Aisharmayim, it's like it. Aisharanyim, Aisharanyim, Allah. Dahayana, Chamataza, Yana, Shalaki, Apa, Sagata, Apayana, Bakawarium, La Yahweh. Verse 18. Warakarabdam, Al, Halacham, Shabai, Kabashium, Thamayamma, Tamayamma, Banya, Shana, Wapar, Ban, Bakwar, Achad, Wa'ala, Wa'ayal, Wa'ayalma, Shanyam, Yahayawa, Ayla, La Yahawa, Wamanaktham, Wanasakyakam, it's like a Yaham. It's like it. Wanasak Yaham. Asha, Rayak, Nayachak, La Yahweh. Verse 19. Wa Aishayatham, Sha'ayar, Aitizayam, Achad, La Khata'af. It's like it. La Khata'afa, Wa Shanya, Chabashyam, Banya Shana, Lazabak, Shalamyam. Verse 20. Wahanayak. Selakit. Selakit. Wahanayak. Hakahan. It's like a hakahan. Atham al-laham. It's like a laham. Habakawarium. It's like a habakawarium. It's like a bakawarium. Tanawapa, Lapanda Yahweh, Al Shanya, Kabashium, Kwadash, Yahweh, La Yahweh. It's like La Yahweh, Lakaan. Verse 20. Wakara'atham, Ba'aitizama. It's like Ba'aitizam. Hayawam Hazar Bakura'ah Kodash Yahweh Lakam Ka Malaka Aibada La'a Da Aishawa Khakwaf Iwalam Bakal Mawashabat. It's like it. Mawashabat Yakam. It's like it. Mawashabat Yakam. Ladarath Yakam. Alright? Let's get into English. Starting at verse 15. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Verse 16. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a meat offering unto the Most High. So this is when the Lord is explaining when we have the closing of the Feast of First Fruits. All right, this is what the Lord is talking about. It's 50 days. So there's a time period while you're within the Feast of First Fruits. Then there's a closing that happens. That's why in the Isupk we call sometimes a closing to the feast. Sometimes the closing of the feast is literally the day of. It just depends what the Lord told us to do. And this is where the instructions are. So there is a time period where you're in the Feast of First Fruits. Alright, and then the closing comes. Most brothers think the Feast of First Fruits, if you did not know, now you know. The Feast of First Fruits isn't just that day. Alright, there's like, you're in the Feast of First Fruits for like 50 days. And then on that day, the Lord is saying that, you know, that's when you offer the new meat offering unto the Most High. Alright. Verse 17. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenth deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Most High. So right here, this is talking about the Feast of First Fruits. Verse 18. And ye shall offer the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Most High, with their meat offering, and their drink offering, even an offering made by fire, of sweet savor unto the Most High. Alright? So this is when during the time of the priest, when we were making drink offerings, burnt offerings, and this is what you would do. Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Alright, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Most High. Alright, with the 2 lambs they shall be holy to the Most High for the priest. Alright, so the priest would wave the offering, alright, unto the Most High. There's a wave offering. There's different types of offerings. You have a meat offering, you have a drink offering, you have a burnt offering, you have a sin offering, you have a wave offering. Like there's so many different kinds of offerings in the law. Alright. Verse 21. And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. Like this is something we do throughout our generations, is to keep these feast days and high holy days. Like this is something very important for us to do as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Alright? Let's get the next verses. Verse 22 in the Hebrew. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22. Wabakotazar come, Kotazayar, Aratazakam, La'ah, Dakala, Pa'ath, Shadak, Bakotazar Laquat, it's like a Walaquat, Kotazayarka, La'ah, the Laquat, it's like it, the Laquat, La'anya, Walagar, the Izab, Atham, Anya, Yahweh, Alahayakum. Verse 23. Wayadabar Yahweh al-Mashal Amar. Verse 24. The Ba'a Banya Yasha Alala Amar Bakhadash Hashabayar Shlakir Hashabayaya Ba'akhad Lakhadash Yahaya Lakam Shabbat one Zakar one the Wa'ai, it's like the Wa'ayah Makorah Kodash Makora'a Kodash. Salakia. It skipped me ahead. Salakia. Why did it do that? Alright, verse 25. Kamala'akaf. I badal la'ab. Ba'ishawa. Wa karab. Salakia. Wa karab thumb. Asha la Yahweh. Verse 26. Where you have the boy Yahweh al Mashallah Amar. Verse 27. Verse 27. Ak. Ba'ashawar. La Kadash. Hashabaya'ayah. Hazah. Yawam. Hakaparim. Hawa'ah. Makura'ah. Kodash Yahweh. Lakab. Salakia. Not Yahweh. Salakia. Kodash Yahaya Lakam wa Ainyatham Salakia. Napashat Yakam wa Karav Tham Asha La Yahweh. Verse 28. Wakam Mala'aka La'a Ba'isha wa Ba'itizam Salakia Ba'itizam Hayawam Hazah Kaya Yawam Kaparyam Hawa'ah Lakapar, Alyakam, Lapanya, Yahweh, Alahayakam. Alright? Starting at verse 22. Alright? In the English. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor. And to the stranger, I am the Most High, your power. Like this is something that the Lord also gave us during the time when it's time. So it says, when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field. So when it cut, now this is during the time of us harvesting, meaning when you're taking all your crops up. Like let's say you have a big land, you have oranges here, apples here, peaches here, plums here. You got your let's say you got your carrots here. Your eggplants here, you got your turnips here, you got your onions here, you got your cabbage here. Like you got all your crops going on. You got your corn here, whatever the case may be. All right. There's a time when you harvest those crops and you put them in a basket and you bring them somewhere and store them, and then whatever you do with them, you know, whatever it is, depending on the season, you either give them to the Lord if it's the first, or you'll put aside for your family, or let's say if you have a market and you sell them, you have it here, whatever the case may be. All right, when you start cultivating the land, like this is what the Lord is trying to give us instructions to do. When we start harvesting our crops, this is what you do. Thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest, meaning the corners of your field. So you have a field. You see the corners of the field, like the sides of your field, don't take those crops. Neither shall thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. The gleaning of the harvest, meaning anything that falls, right? Meaning anything on the ground, right? Anything that falls from the crops that's just there, you don't have to don't pick that up, all right? Don't gather the ones on the corners of your field, and don't pick up the ones that fall, all right? Thou shalt leave them unto the poor, and to the stranger I am the Most High, your power. Like the Lord set up a system so all of the people of Israel can be fed. All right. The Lord deals with the rich and the poor. You understand? Not every brother is going to be really, really rich. Not every brother is going to be really, really poor. But there is going to be a social status in every nation that you have. And there are social statuses in the nation of Israel. Not everyone's going to be super, super wealthy. But neither is everyone going to be super, super poor. But if there is someone that's poor, not meaning they don't have a home to stay in. Like, don't think of the poor like there's poor in America. Like, the way the poor is in America is absolutely disgusting. All right? Just because you're poor, meaning you don't make as much as everybody else. That's what poor really means. That you don't make as much as everybody else. That doesn't mean you have to be homeless. It doesn't mean you don't have to eat. It doesn't mean you starve and die on the streets of Norfolk or Portsmouth or Newport News. That's not what that means. That's why the Lord gave these instructions to our nation. Like, this is how you prevent starvation and brothers being homeless and end up stealing just so they can survive. Don't glean your fields and don't take from the sides, man. Let them have it. You know, who knows what they're going through? You know what I'm saying? They may have been able to pay all their bills at their house. But dang, I don't have enough to get some fruits, man. I don't have enough for this, man. I got 3 kids to take care of, 4 or 5 kids. I don't got enough, man. Oh man, you know, there's a system set up in Israel where I can just gather some fruits right here and I can feed my family with. You understand? Like, that's the spirit of the Lord. You understand? The Lord created a system for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to follow. That's why the Christian church is so evil when they say, do not keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. It's an evil thing. Because in these laws, right, in these statutes and these commandments, the Lord created a system for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to live by and follow to establish the nation of Israel as a nation, so none of us go hungry and starve and die and end up stealing from each other just to survive like we're doing in the ghettos of America. Verse 23. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets, a holy convocation. So here we go. All right, we're here. All right, so this is talking about the Feast of Blowing Trumpets. Now we're here. All right, it's in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpets. All right, and holy convocation. So here we are. So now I don't know if you guys noticed. I already taught that in one class, but I will say, the beginning of the month. I will say just for time's sake. So if you ever go outside during the beginning of the months, notice that there's usually no moon out. That's called a new moon. That's how you know that it's the beginning of a month. All right, that's how you would usually know that there's a beginning of the month when there's no moon out. All right. Verse 25. All right. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. Here we go. All right. Verse 26. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, so that's what you do for the memorial blowing trumpets. Once I'm done with Leviticus 23, I will go into detail about the memorial of the blowing trumpets. I'll make sure I do that for sure. All right. To go into detail, we'll be in Numbers chapter 10 for that. All right. Because memorial of the blowing trumpets, there's a spirit behind the memorial of the blowing trumpets. All right. There's a spirit behind that. All right. Verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. All right. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your soul. So also on the 10th day of this 7th month. So the beginning of the month, you will do the blowing of trumpets. And 10 days after comes the Day of Atonement. All right. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. Now, this is something very, very important to understand. The Day of Atonement, it's coming up. All right, to afflict your souls. All right. And there's a breakdown for that too. Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High your power. I gotta stop. Let's go to verse 29 in the Hebrew. All right, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 29. Kaya kal hanapash ashar la'a ba'ina ba'itizm hayawam hazah wanakaraf. It's like it. Wanakarafa ba'anya. It's like it. Ma'anyaha. Verse 30. Wakal hanapash ashar mala'aka ba'itizm hayawam hazah wa'abad daya hanapash, like a hanapash hawa'a makorab aima Verse 31. Verse 31. Kal mala'aka la'a ta'ishawa chakwaf iwalam ladoraf yakam bakal mashabat yakam. Verse 32. Shabbat wan hawa'a lakam wa ainya tam'ah napashat napasta yakam napashat yakam bada aisha bada shai la khadash ba'irab ma irab airab the shabbat come. Verse 33. ويدبر يهوى al mashallah amar. Verse 34. Dabar al banya yasha'al la amar ba'chamash ba'chamasha aisha yawam la khadash hasab ya'ayr hazar khan hasak wa shabayf yam la yahawah. Verse 35. Bayawam ra'ash hara'ash one makura'a kodash ka mala'aka ibad ibadah la'a da'aishawa. Verse 36. Keep doing that. Verse 36. Shabayf yam the korayab wa ashar asha la yahawah bayawam Hashemayan Hashemayanaya Makara'a Kodash Yahawah Lakam Ha'akorav Thum Asha La Yahawah I Tazarah Hawa'a Kal Mala'aka I badala ta aishawa. Alright, let's get the next verses in the English. Starting at verse 20. Starting at verse 29. Verse 29. But whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Like there's no excuse for you not to do the Day of Atonement. Unless, alright, there are stipulations for who cannot do the Day of Atonement. But if you are able to do the Day of Atonement, there is no excuse to afflict your soul. Don't drink water that day, no food, no excuses at all. Alright? Alright, there are stipulations on that. If you have any questions, you can definitely get into contact with the camp leader and things like that, or any priest and officer, and he'll explain to you what the Day of Atonement is about specifically, and what to do and what not to do. Pretty much is not to eat or drink that day. Refrain from it is not against anyone to have sexual intercourse that day, but it is highly recommended not to. Alright? Because you can accidentally drink some water afterward. You can be very, very tired. You don't want to do too much work. That's why the Lord pretty much wants you to rest that day, because you're not going to be eating nothing and drinking nothing that entire day. So the less work you do, the better. If you can take off your slavery, that would be very tawad for you to do. Alright? So you don't overwork yourself. Alright? But if you have any health conditions or anything like that, you are not, and you have to take medicine and things like that, you don't have to do the Day of Atonement. Children don't do the Day of Atonement. Elderly don't do the Day of Atonement, especially because a lot of our elderly, they usually take medicine that requires water and things like that, and they can't go without food for too long. Okay, so the Lord doesn't. The point of this is not to kill you, of course. The Lord doesn't want to kill anybody. All right. On the Day of Atonement, the Lord just wants us to afflict our souls. All right. Verse 31. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. So it starts on the 9th day at the even. All right. From even unto even, meaning, and ye celebrate your Sabbath. So on the 9th day at the even, that's when it starts. Right. Then it rolls into the 10th day. Right. And then the 10th day, on that even, that's when it ends. And y'all should celebrate your Sabbath. Alright? Verse 33. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, verse 34, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Most High. So now this is coming into the Feast of Tabernacles. Alright? Verse 35, on the first day shall be in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 36. Verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering by fire. On the 8th day shall be in holy convocation unto you, and ye shall serve our work therein. Like the point of these assemblies is to be a solemn assembly, meaning a solemn assembly, meaning it's supposed to be something of peace. Alright, meaning there's supposed to be no fighting that day, and we're supposed to be all getting along, no strife. We're supposed to be just eating food, getting along, drinking, and just having a good time. That's the point of these feasts, man. Coming together and having a good time, learning how to deal with each other, love each other, just forgive each other, give your brother a beer, give your sister a bottle of wine, chill, relax, put on some music, be a family as a nation of Israel. Like, that's the purpose of these high holy days, man. Alright. Let's start at verse 37. I believe we want to go to verse 42. Well, we're gonna finish it out all the way to 44. Alright? Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. Alam mawa'aya Yahweh Ashar B'Korah wa Atham Makorah Kodash La Koryab Ashar La Yahweh Ayla Manakah Wa Manakah Zabak Wana Sakyim the bar Yawam Bayawamba. It's like it Bayawamwa. Verse 38. Malabad. It's like it Malabad. Shabbatha. Yahweh. It's like it Malabad. Wa Malabad. That's why I kept on messing up. The waw was right there. Wa Malabad. Malanawaf Yakam. Wa Malabad. Kal. The rock. It's like it. The Daryakam. Wamalabad. Kal. Nadabak. It's like it. Nadabarak Yakam. Ashar. The Thunwa. La Yahweh. Verse 39. Verse 39. Bakamasha. Aishar. Yawam. Lachadash. Hashabayaya. Ma'asakam. Tabawa'ah. Ha'atazah. The Chagwa. Chag. Yahweh. Shabaith. Yum. Bayawam. It's like a kind. Bayawam. Ha'arataz. It's like it. Not Ha'arataz. Ha'ashwan. Shabbath one. Wabayawam. Wabayawam. Hashemayanya. It's like it. Shemayanaya. Hashemayanaya. Shabbath one. Verse 40. Wakodash. It's like it. Wala kakath. Ma. It's like it. Wala kwak them. Lakam. Bayawam. Hara'ashwan. Hoya. Aitazah. Harad. It's like it. Hadar. Kapath. The Mariam. Wa'ainat. Aitazah. Aibath. Wa'aibarya. It's like it. Wa'airabya. Nakal. Washamak. Washamaktham. Lapanya Yahweh. Alahayakam. Shabaith. Yum. Verse 41. Wachagtham. Athwa. Chag. La Yahweh. Shabaith. Yum. Bashana. Chakwak. Salaki. Chak. Chakwatha. Kokwa, Salaki, Kakwa, Awalam, Ladarak Yikam, Bakadash, Hashabayaya, Bahadwa, Athwa, verse 42, Basak, Basakat, Salaki, Basakat, the Shab, the Shab, Salaki, the Shabwa, Shabaif, Yam Kal, Azar, Salaki, Azarak, meaning natives like it. Azarak, Bayasha'ala, Shab, Yashabwa, Basak, it's like a Basakat, verse 43. Verse 43. Lama'ain, it's like it. Lama'ain, Yad, Yadaiwa, Darak Yikam, Kaya, Basakwa, Hawashabathia, Banya Yasha'ala, Bahawatazaya, Slakia, Bahawatazaya, let me see, Bahawatazaya, Tazaya, Slakia, Bahawatazaya, Awakma, Ma'ataza, Matazaya, Anya Yahawa Alahayakam. Verse 44, where the bar Masha'at Ma'ayya Yahawa al Banya Yasha'ala. Alright. Starting at verse 37. We're going to start at verse 37. We're going to finish it up. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. These are the feasts of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High, an offering made by fire unto the Most High, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and a drink offering, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbath of the Most High, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye give unto the Most High. Alright, so the Lord is saying, besides all of that, alright, this is what you do for that day. Verse 39. Like, don't use those type of offerings and gifts and free will offerings. Don't use those as if those are accepted at that time for those offerings for that feast day. That's what the Lord's pretty much saying there. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Most High 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. So the first and the 8th day shall be Sabbaths. Alright. Verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High your power 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Most High 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. This is dealing with the Feast of Tabernacles. Alright? And here's the reason why the Lord wants us to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. Verse 42, ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that the Israelites born shall dwell in booths. So this is dealing with the tabernacle. If you don't know what a tabernacle is, a tabernacle is literally a dwelling place. This dwelling place is usually a tent. A booth is a tent. Alright? Verse 43, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Most High your power. Like, it was Israelite culture to always dwell in booths, to dwell in tents, dwell in teepees. Like the Native American, if you look at the Native Americans, our people, like the Creeks, the Muskegee, the Seminoles, the Cherokee, the Navajo, the Iroquois, the Apache, the Comanche, the Mohegans, the Mohawkins, all right? When you look at the Native Americans, they kept the majority of our cultures, even the Latinos, the Mexicans, the Isupkites, the Mayans, the Inca, the Aztecs. Like the Native Indians, we kept our people, the northern tribes kept the majority of the customs of the Most High, according to the scriptures. That's why when you look at the Native Americans, all right, they have fringes. They still wear fringes. All right. They still, some of their paintings and some of their clothes still have the shield of David on it. You understand? That's why they dwelt in tents and teepees, you understand? Because that was a part of our culture. Verse 44. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Most High. Alright? The feast of the Most High. Alright? So now, I believe that's it on that. I believe I think I have to end the Sabbath service first, then I'll go into the I have to end the Sabbath. I have to do the Sabbath completely, and then I'll go to Numbers chapter 10, everyone. All right. So once I'm done with the Sabbath service, I'll get into Numbers chapter 10. I believe that's how it's supposed to be done. Let me see. God. All right. Let's see. No wait, Salaki. Actually, God, I can go to Numbers chapter 10. Salaki. All right, Numbers. So now, all right. So now I want to get to the memorial of the blowing trumpets right here. All right. This is the very This is something that we need to understand right here. Okay. So now we're in the memorial of the blowing trumpets. All right, Israel. So right now we're in the memorial of the blowing trumpets. And it's very, very important to understand the breakdown in the history of the blowing of trumpets. It is a very important custom in Israel to have trumpets. The Lord ordered us to have trumpets for a reason. Like the Lord told Moses to tell the children of Israel to make trumpets, even out of a brick of silver or out of a piece of silver purposely for the nation of Israel. And we're going to break down in Numbers chapter 10, because this is where the more of the blowing trumpets come from. All right? And we're going to break down the spirit that comes from the more of the blowing trumpets. So Numbers chapter 10, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2, make thee 2 trumpets of silver. So the Lord told Moses to tell the children of Israel, right? All right, well, Salaki. And the Moses spake unto Moses, saying, to make thee 2 trumpets of silver. So the Lord told Moses to make 2 trumpets of silver. Of a whole piece shalt thou make them. So out of a whole piece of silver, you make these 2 trumpets. All right? That thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly. Like the uses of these trumpets is to call the assembly. Now remember, we have to understand Moses is who the Lord raised and put in charge to rule the nation of Israel at this time. And so the assembly of Israel and the congregation of Israel is the Israelites, and they are under the one authority, which is Moses, because the Lord put Moses in charge. All right, the Lord put Moses in charge. That was the order given to the Lord. Like if you go to, I believe in Exodus, it explains literally Moses being in charge, right, and Aaron being the speaker for Moses, right? Like the Lord put Moses in charge. All right, the Lord put Moses in charge. All right, and for the journeying of the camp. So when the camp would journey, like meaning go on a journey, because right now we're in the wilderness, and when they would go to and fro wherever they needed to go, like this is the purpose of the trumpets that the Lord told Moses to make. Verse 3. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So when these trumpets are being blown, right, it says, shall assemble all the assembly, meaning all the assembly, the nation of Israel, right, shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Now what's the tabernacle of the congregation? That's literally the house that the Lord placed for all the children of Israel to go to. That's the Lord, that's referring to the house of the Most High, the house of the Lord. Like this is what it's talking about. Like all the nation of Israel is supposed to assemble and come together, right? Like that's the point, that is the purpose of this. Like it's very important for us to understand the order that the Lord is trying to give. Like the Lord is setting rules and regulations and orders so we can all come together. Like it's very important for us to come together and come together. Why is it important for us to come together? because coming together will protect us. Coming together will make us safe. Like that's the entire purpose of these trumpets being made. And the Lord goes on to say in verse 4, and if they blow but with one trumpet, then the princes meaning an authority figure, which are heads of the thousands of Israel. Because remember, Moses set heads over Israel. Alright? They were captains over Israel, and generals over Israel, and officers and elders over Israel that Moses set up to help lead the nation of Israel. Right? Shall gather themselves unto thee. So if that trumpet is blown, with one trumpet, if that one trumpet is blown, this is what is supposed to happen. Verse 5, when ye blow an alarm, when the trumpet is being blown, but as an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. So now this is the order when you sound the alarm with the trumpets, the east part of the camp shall go forward, meaning you move when this trumpet is being blown. Like the Lord is giving instructions to Moses to help lead the nation of Israel in a orderly fashion. Like it's very important to have order throughout the nation of Israel and order throughout our nation. Like the reason why we're suffering so much in the ghettos, because we have no damn order. And we have no form of discipline in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. Like just this simple instruction that the Lord told Moses to do to make these trumpets out of silver is to help lead the nation of Israel and to keep the nation of Israel in order, so whenever these trumpets are blown, they move. And if these trumpets are not blown, then you don't move. Like you just don't move on your own. You just don't make decisions on your own. You understand? Like that's why the Lord set up a government body, a priesthood, right? Especially at this time under Moses, so the nation of Israel didn't have to make decisions on their own and end up trial and erring and making mistakes and end up killing each other and dying off of the mistakes that they make and dying off the decisions that they make. Like that's why the Lord raised up the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under commanding Junior Hana, so we don't have to make decisions on our own. So we can go get counsel and not make decisions on our own and make mistakes and end up dying for our decisions and end up in prison and jail for the decisions that we make. Like the Lord had an order to everything. And that's the purpose of this feast, man. The purpose of this feast is to have an order of everything and coming together. Like that's the purpose of this, man. That's the purpose. Verse 5. Like this is right here. This is the purpose of everything, man. This is the purpose of the Feast of Blowing Trumpets right here. The memorial of the blowing trumpets is to keep order amongst Israel and coming together. You can't be safe unless you come together under the men who the Lord chose and raised up. Alright? Verse 5. And when ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. Verse 6. When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. Like this is something we are to do. So we move when these trumpets are blown. Like that's in order. Like we know we just don't move on our own. We move as a unit. Like that's very spiritual. Like we need that's the purpose of one body. We move as a whole. We move as a unit. We don't move separately. I don't move when I want to move. I don't move because I feel like moving. I move when the man in charge tells me to move. I don't move the way I want to move. I move based off who the Lord raises up. I move based off of that. And that's the purpose right here of this feast, to understand the order that the Lord raised up. Like the Lord is explaining in Numbers chapter 10, like this is under Moses. And the Lord is giving these rules and regulations to Moses to give to the children of Israel so we can have some order. So we know how to move. So we're not moving on our own. Imagine if we didn't have the order in the wilderness like this. Imagine if we didn't have trumpets made like this. It would be so chaotic. There would be chaos. So many enemies and armies would be able to attack us and kill us and absolutely destroy us because there's no order. Guess what? That's what's happening in the ghetto. Because we have no order, there's armies coming into our neighborhood called the police department and killing our sons and killing our daughters and sex trafficking our sons and daughters to never be seen again. You understand? And now we're going to funeral after funeral after funeral. And now we got to speak to our sons and our daughters from a phone because they got 20 years of life without parole. Like these are the things that are happening, man, when we don't have order in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. Like the Lord is establishing order right here in Numbers chapter 10. Like that's the spirit behind the memorial of the blowing trumpets right here. All right. Let's get it. Verse 7. Numbers chapter 10, verse 7. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, right? But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm. So when the congregation is supposed to come together, right? This is what you do. You blow that trumpet. When it's for us just to come together, it could be for anything. This is the purpose of the memorial of the blowing trumpets, just to come together so we can be in one unit and move as a unit and move as one body, so we can move on one accord. Like that's why it's so evil for the Christian church to teach that the law is done away with, because you would have read in Numbers chapter 10 and maybe understood what Paul was talking about, being in one accord and one body of Christ and all of this. Like this is the purpose of all of that. So we can move together as one. When we don't move together as one and we have so many different ways and we're so damn divided, and we got Muslims over here, and we got Buddhists over here, we got Christians over here, and Methodists over here, and Baptists over here, Pentecostal over here, Seventh-day Adventists over here, Eagles over here, and I have my way to do this. I think we should do it this way. Maybe this is my thing. I think my way is better. You know what? Since you don't think my way is better, I'm going to do it my own way. Who's with me? Oh, y'all going to come follow me? And now we have nothing but chaos, and then you complain every single day of why we are struggling in the black community, and complaining why our daughters are being sex trafficked, and we complain why our sons are being murdered by the police and gunned down by the police. It's because we think that we can just do whatever the hell we want. Listen, there's a spirit behind the memorial of the blowing trumpets. It's so we cannot be divided, so we can come together and be under the one body in the one accord that the Lord raised up. That's the purpose. Like these orders are coming from Moses. You understand? Just like these orders, that's why Commanding General Yohana gave the order, all camps are ordered to come together. Like that's the purpose of it. Why? Because we are supposed to be a nation of people. You understand? And there's supposed to be one government body to lead the people. You can't have two government bodies trying to lead people. That doesn't make any sense at all. You understand? That doesn't make any sense at all. Even the Democrats and Republicans understand that they're under one government. Even they understand that. You understand? There was one time in America when America thought that they could make their own government. But there was a civil war behind that because it wasn't supposed to be so. Well, why do we think in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community we can have so many different leaders in government bodies to lead our people? It doesn't make any sense at all. And it causes chaos. And it causes disorder. And it causes our people to suffer in the ghettos. You understand? Like the Lord gave these orders for a reason. That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit of the memorial of the blowing trumpets. Let's get it. Verse 8. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. Like this is something to be kept throughout our generations. Like every time you hear that horn being blown in the Sabbath service, it's supposed to make you remember something too. Remember that we're supposed to be one body. It's supposed to help you remember throughout our generations, this is what we need to do. We need to be under one body, one government. And that government is the Isupk. The Lord raised up the Isupk and the Commanding General to lead so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So every time you hear that horn being blown, this is supposed to help us remember as a people. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be coming together. We're supposed to have one leader over us. We're supposed to have a government body. Why are we doing this? Like this is the purpose. You understand? Let's get verse 9. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you. So like the Lord is giving an order, let's say you're going to war against your enemy in a land that's oppressing you. And then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered. And ye shall be remembered before the Most High power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Like the Lord is saying, like if you go to war with your enemies in the land, you're supposed to blow this horn so the Lord can remember. Okay, all right, they understand, because guess what? This is the law. You would only blow that horn only if you understood the law and you knew that law. Like, that's why it's so evil for the Christian church to teach that the law is done away with, man. That's why it's so evil, man. Like, because this is how the Lord remembers us. When we blow them trumpets, this is how the Lord remembers us and how the Lord is with us by keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. It's our law to do this, man. You understand? It's in our law. Verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, meaning in the day of your gladness, you're happy, having a good old time, right? And in your solemn days, meaning in days of peace. You understand? So you're glad, you're happy, no worries. You're not being murdered by the police. You're not being thrown in jail. You understand? You're not dying from high blood pressure. You're not dying from all these diseases, right? You're glad, you're happy. You're safe, right? Because it says solemn, right? In your solemn days, meaning in your days of peace. Peace meaning you're safe, right? You're in safety. You understand? You're safe. And in the beginning of your months. Here we go. In the beginning of your months. Here we go. In the beginning of your months. You shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am the Most High, your power. Like, this is why we have the memorial of the blowing trumpets. This is why we always blow the horn during our Sabbath service, right? Because it was within our culture to do it over the offerings we would give to the Most High. Like, that's why when you see in the Sabbath service, I blow the horn. I blow the horn almost like 3 to 4 times. Why? This is why. This is why. This is right here. This is why. For a memorial before your power. I am the Most High, your power. Like, this is the purpose of this, man. Like, this was the purpose of the feast, like a memorial of the blowing trumpets. It's so we understood order. We understood discipline. To come together. And the only way, and guess what? There's more than just coming together. Because a lot of people come together. But we have to come together under the authority that the Most High raised up. That's the only way to be safe. You can't go to war. You can't just go to war. You can't just go to war on your own. You got to go to war under the authority that told you to go to war. Like, think about in America. The Navy just ain't going to war because they want to go to the war. The Army isn't going to war because they want to go to war. And the Marines ain't, and the Air Force ain't just doing things on their own accord. The president gives that order, and then the president passes it down to the I forgot what it was called, but it was some senator over the military, and the order gets passed down to go fight and go to war. Well, guess what? This is how it is in Israel. There's a order to everything. The Lord raised up a man to lead the nation of Israel. At this time, it was Moses. At this time, in 2021, it's commanding during Yahana in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. So when we say come together, it means come together under the authority that the Lord raised up. That's the only way to be safe. That's the only way to be on one accord. Because we're not going to be safe any other way. There is no other way to guarantee safety unless we move in one accord. That's the purpose of blowing that horn, and one moves this way, and you blow the horn, and then the other moves that way. And then they don't move if there's no horns being blown. Everything deals with order. That's how you prevent chaos. That's how you prevent destruction. There is no order in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community because we were never taught order in the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. No thanks to the Christian church. No thanks to your Christian pastors, your bishops, and your ministers teaching you that the law is done away with.